Let me be clear. State control over our police department was a failure. It was a failure when the voters rejected, and then if this body holds respect for facts and best practices, it should fail to move beyond this committee. Crime is down in the city of St. Louis, and it's lower than pre-pandemic levels, and the number of homicides this year was the lowest in more than a decade. The decrease in homicides in 23 was the largest drop in homicides in the past 90 years. Overall, violent crime is down 15% from 23 and down 31% compared to 2022. And this legislation is not about public safety. If it were, I would expect a clear and compelling answer to this question. Why will state control make St. Louis safer? Kansas City, the only remaining law enforcement agency under state control, has not matched St. Louis's success in crime reduction.
You know, you stated that crime stats and things are falling. Is it your contention that crime in the city of St. Louis is at an acceptable level?
No.
Okay.
One life lost to gun violence is one too many, and we will continue to work to bring down our numbers even further.
Well, what are some of the sources then of the gun violence?
You'll hear more from the chief, but most of our crime is interpersonal. Someone starts a beef with someone on the internet or on Facebook or social media, but nowadays everybody can get access to a gun, and then they take it out in that way. So a lot of the crime that we have been able to solve has been interpersonal beefs. 0.1% of the population is responsible for most of the crime in the city of St. Louis.
Does that 0.1%, do you have a demographic of what that 0.1% of that population?
The average age is 31.
The average age is 31.
Average age is 31, and it's a 31-year-old black male.
You've talked about some of the issues within the violent crime in St. Louis, and you've placed that blame on lax gun laws. And then your testimony just now said that the person that commits the most amount of crime in the city of St. Louis is a 31-year-old man. I'm trying to see how a lawfully aged adult man at 31, what kind of a law we could put in place if you're going to place blame on lax gun laws when we got a person that's legally able to obtain a firearm as the number one perpetrator of crime within your city.
Well, red flag laws would start. If that 31-year-old male has a mental health issue, then we cannot take their gun. You can own a gun at 18, and an 18-year-old shot up and killed 2 people at Central Visual and Performing Arts on October 22nd, 2023. And this particular individual had a mental health problem. Our officers tried to take his gun away, but because there are no red flag laws, he was able to get his gun back and then go shoot up that school several days later.
So do you think the majority of the crime that's committed in the city of St. Louis is done by mentally ill people?
No, you asked me what law we could pass that would help.
That's correct, but if we're going to make a meaningful adjustment in the violent crime in our cities,
I don't believe that a majority of those are mental health, but I'm saying what would help.
And it's an honest question. I'm trying to figure out a way that I could rationalize in my head the argument that's made that lax gun laws are one of the main issues or drivers of violent crime within our cities.
Or here's another law that would help.
But the perpetrators are ones that are legally able and constitutionally able, honestly.
Right. Well, here's another law
protect themselves and
here's
their
another
property.
law that would help. What about bringing license to carry back? If you are driving a car, you have to have a license and insurance to drive that car. But however, if you have a gun, you're not required to take any sort of courses about the proper use of that firearm, which can take another life.
I've heard this line of questioning before or thought. I think we need to be careful when we deal with our constitutional amendments, our rights. I don't think that we have a constitutional right to drive a vehicle. I think foundationally in our nation, we need to have a good discussion about why violent crime takes place. The lack of fathers in our homes, no matter where you live at within our state.
Sir, I'm a single mother. That's where I'm sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting, but My son does just fine without having a father in the home.
I grew
there
up
are
in a single family
and
as
there
well,
are
ma'am.
lots of single mothers who do not have fathers in their homes for a myriad of reasons. But we cannot sit here and blame fatherless children, because that's the same argument that you're giving about guns. I'm not going to let you do that.
Could you answer my question then, Mayor?
No, I'm not going to answer your question. I think I already answered your question.